welcome. We are doing the Be Fearless Skin Cup. So excited. Hello, hello. Oh, thank you, Rita. It's a mess. Good thing y'all don't have smell-o-vision. I'm pretty sweaty. Just getting in from karate. Okay, so we're just gonna jump right into this. If you guys have already prepped your cups, you are going to have a white base. Yes, I have been very busy this week. White base, and we are going to glitter this first. So I think you guys could do any kind, any size, any cup that you wanted. And there are several different ways to base glitter your cup. You can use Mod Podge, which I know Rebecca loves it. You can use Quick Coat. You can use paint, or you can use epoxy method. I personally like epoxy. Yes, any cup's fine. Okay, good. I personally like epoxy just because I find that I don't have as much loose glitter. So when I go to epoxy the next layer, I feel like it adheres a lot better. So that's what I typically do. I am going to use paint tonight. I just can't get the Quick Coat to work. I don't know if it just dries too fast on me. Maybe I'm not doing thick enough layer. I don't know, but I can't get it to work. We are using, you all should have the Bora Bora glitter. So we're just gonna dive right in and start glittering our cup. I'll move this out of the way. If you already have your cup glittered, you're just a little bit ahead. So give us just a minute to do this section and then we'll jump into the other. And when I'm using paint for my glitter, I use a fan brush. Crystallite glitter glue. I have not heard of that. Yes, let us know how it works. And this is a sublimation tumbler that I'm using because I stink at sublimation. I bought an oven and everything, and it's not working out for me. So I'm gonna have to just stick to epoxy because they are horrible. So I'm hoping this works out okay. I sanded it, but we'll see what happens. Glitter the whole cup with Bora Bora. And then we're gonna set that aside. And I'm just glittering my cup real quick. Look at that sparkle. No, Mary, you're not late. Just glittering my cup. That's all we're doing right now. So we've got full coverage glitter all the way around. Yeah, I really want to love the sublimation, but I just, you know, there's things that you're just not good at. And for me, it's whistling and sublimation. They're just things that I'm not good at, and I'm willing to accept that. I can't whistle or sublimate a cup. It's fine. So I'm taking all of these and I'm putting glitter on them and doing whatever. So we've got that. We're going to set that aside, let it dry. Now, once that is completely dry, what we want you to do is come over with a coat of resin so that you have a smooth base to it. No, Mary, you did not have to have it glittered. You could have glittered it ahead of time. Not necessary though, because right now we're not going to do anything else to that cup besides glitter it and let it sit. And I'm going to clean up my glitter mess here. And then we're going to get into the next step. Oh, you've got a second, because I literally made a mess. Like a really big mess. And I am going to tilt you guys down just a little bit here when I start with the paint so you can see what I'm doing. Do I need to slow down? Did I go too fast? If I went too fast, we'll slow down. You guys do not feel like you're rushed. I just kind of live in my own world over here. So just say, hang on. You need me to stop? Tell me. Back up. Back up, sister. So whichever method you prefer to glitter your cup, Primetime does work the same as the pop of color. Yes. You can use Primetime, one thin coat, glitter right over it, let that completely dry, and then come over with a layer of resin. I let mine dry for a couple of hours just to make sure, because when you put the glitter on, you might have an area that's a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. So you do want to make sure that your paint is completely dry before you cover over it with resin. My dog. She's like the laziest thing ever. Until she hears somebody come to the house. And then she goes insane. Crazy. Crazy insane. She's ridiculous. I even got her a bed so that she could come hang out with me. She will not lay on it. She prefers to lay right there on the floor. Maybe because it's cold. I will tell her she's a good girl. B. Lori said you're a good girl. See how she got? B, are you a good girl? We don't have to get up. They just want to tell you you're a good girl. Yeah, okay. Go lay back. Oh, yes. Okay. So, if you guys are ready, I'm going to tilt you down and still talk to you. I may miss a question or two, but Rebecca and Leisha are both here, and they can try and answer them, but I will also go back through and answer the questions after. So hopefully I don't miss any though. Okay, so in your box, I'm going to tilt you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. Maybe. You have a prepped white cup. Okay, Mary. So just whenever, if you don't want to do it now, you don't have to. But sometime glitter that cup, let that dry, and then put a layer of resin over top of it. So that when we come back, you're ready for the next step. Now you guys received, let me see if I can tilt you down just a little bit more. Okay, so you guys received acrylic paint. I'm going too fast. Am I going too fast? No, Stephanie, do not feel left behind. What do you need? We're not leaving anyone behind tonight. You all tell me. Rick's Mix is a special formula that helps create cells. Okay, you all keep glittering. We can just hang out and chat while y'all glitter. And then when everybody is ready to move on, you all give me the go. So Rick's Mix is a special formula that is designed to create cells. You do not have to add anything to it. It's ready to go. It's ready to pour. I have another cup I can glitter too. So let me do that. So I'll glitter another cup. You want to see that cup? The one I was drinking out of? This one? This one was made by Beth Cumber of Midland Vinyls. Her and I both share an obsession of donuts, so we traded donut cups. All right, I'm gonna glitter another cup with you all. Actually, I don't even know where my box is. That's terrible to say, but I have had several things come lately, and I've taken the boxes and I just kind of set them aside. So I don't really know what's what and where's it at. I did manage to get all my stuff out for the class, like the stuff that I need to use. Oh, Ashley, yes. The gold flake is kind of amazing. I thought I had, oh, I do have another cup here. I'll show you all that I added flakes to. This one here. Just as a little divider. Okay. I get sidetracked super easy, so. This cup already has one coat of white on it with the pop of color. And I'm just gonna do another one and add glitter to it. You can use this instead of doing spray paint, which was my plan for this cup. But since I've got it here, we'll just glitter it. It's a bigger cup, so it's gonna take me a little bit longer. You ate mine. You ate mine. You ate your candy already? I hope my dog doesn't get into it. She'll find it, because she is not the goodest sometimes. So when I'm using the paint as my base to glitter, I just want to make sure that I'm getting smooth, even strokes. The paintbrush that I'm using is just a fanned paintbrush. I believe I got this maybe from like Hobby Lobby. Or maybe Michael's. Oh my goodness, you glittered your floor, counter, and the cup. And I always hit my edges first, just because those tend to dry a bit quicker than the rest. And then come in through the middle. And then just tap it off. Look at that. Oh, such a pretty white. Love it. I could glitter every cup in Bora Bora. See if I can get this back in the jar this time without making a huge mess. Look at that. All right, how's everyone doing? No, Jill, we just did the glitter, so you're not late. If you're just hopping on, you can glitter your cup after this, let it dry, and then add a coat of resin over the top of it before the next class. Okay, so I'm gonna, if you guys are still glittering, keep going. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the paints and paint pouring. It is, I'm not gonna say it's not something that you can get right off the bat, but it is something that you want to continue to work with to get the consistency that you find works best for you. My consistency might not be the same as yours. And what I'm saying by consistency is when you open up a container of acrylic paint, it is thick, it's heavy. If you open up the container of Rick's Mix, it's a lot thinner. It pours a lot easier. So what you're doing is you are trying to create a thinner mix with your acrylic paint that we're going to pour along with our Rick's Mix, and mixing the two different materials is what is going to help us create cells. So you have your 3 acrylic paint colors, and then you also have 2 of the Rix Mix. The Cardinal Red Rix Mix is the normal pouring Rix Mix. That, like I said earlier, it has special stuff in it that helps it thin it out, and it also helps it with creating cells. So this is ready to go. You never have to add anything to Rix Mix to get it to pour and create cells. The other Rix Mix that you got is called Heavy White. This, if you open it up and look at it, it is a thicker mix than the regular Rix Mix. The reason that I like to combine these two is because I find for using the skins and putting them on the cup, if you use all Rix Mix, it's very thin. I find that it's really hard to work with. So that's why I like to mix the regular Rix Mix, the heavy mix, the heavy white or black of the Rix Mix, and then also acrylic paints. You also received a mica in your bag. You can use this, you can use any other mica that you have when you are mixing your paints. And I saw somebody comment that they've never used the mica mixed in with anything before. What happens is you're creating a different texture, so it's going to create that depth. It's going to, if you've ever seen or watched anybody do acrylic pouring, a lot of times they will add silicone to their mix. The thing with that is when you add silicone, and especially if you're going to be putting it on a cup, silicone repels epoxy. So when you put that into your pour and then you go to add it to your cup, most likely what's going to happen is you're going to get fish eyes. So then you're trying to sand it out, level it out. It's hard to get an even coat over the top of it because it just constantly wants to repel. So what we are going to do is we are going to find an alternative to that to create your cells. And the mica is what is going to help us do this. Can you use the heavy white for waves? I haven't used it. I'm not for sure if you could. Are you wanting to mix it in with your resin and do it that way? Is that what you're asking? And then you guys also have cups that you received in your box. I'm going to use clear cups so you guys can see. Jessica, are you wanting to do it? Are you doing it on a cup, like a beach cup, and you're trying to get the waves? Or are you doing a flat resin piece and trying to get waves? And if everybody who is going to be pouring with me tonight, grab a small Dixie cup of water. It doesn't have to be much. It doesn't matter what temperature it is. Have you tried Armor Art? Because that is the only thing that I use for my waves. Okay, there are some tricks to the armor art. It only takes just a tiny little bit. You do not need much at all. So if you put too much in there and then you're trying to get your waves, you're not going to get them. So once everybody has their cups and their little cup of water, yes, armor art is amazing. Is everybody ready to continue? It's hard for me to see comments down here, so. You all let me know. Repeat. Oh, okay. Just, I want you to grab a cup of water. Okay. So if everybody is ready, we're going to shake our paints up and we are going to pour. See how thick that is? We're going to pour a little bit in our cup. If it's freezing, Jessica, exit out and come back in and see if that helps. I was having trouble earlier. Somebody's at my house. I'm a little concerned. I heard the water turn on. They're probably out watering my dying plants. It's probably just a neighbor driving past. They're like, oh, look at Misty's dead plants. I'm just filling the bottom of my cup. Just covering the bottom of it. I hope I'm not getting robbed, y'all. Okay. And you've got your paint just covering the bottom. Just a little bit. You don't need a whole bunch. And then you're going to take your water. Is the amount the same for a 32 ounce cup? So it just kind of depends on how big you want your skin to be. So here, let's back up just a little bit. So what you can do is, I've been doing this quite a bit, so I kind of know what size I need. It probably is the Wet Bandits. I don't know what they're gonna steal. I don't know what's going on. So what you can do is take, and wherever you're going to be pouring your skin on, you can take your cup and kind of lay it on there, and then use a Sharpie or something and kind of mark where you want it. So maybe from here over to roughly here. And then let's say we want it there to maybe here. So you can see kind of what size you're wanting it. So that gives you an idea of where you need to pour it. I kind of just do whatever with mine. I'm not really too worried about it. Like this one here, I poured the other night, and as I'm pouring it, I'm like, I don't even really know what that's gonna be. But then afterwards, it dried, and it's a guitar. I mean, how stinking cool is that? And like the size of it is perfect for a 32-ounce cup. You know, it's just like it was meant to be. Go check it out. I am not going out. I'm not going outside. Heck to the no. No, no, no. I would say it's probably a neighbor or a friend watering my plants because they're dying. Okay, so you guys can write on these mats to figure out what you need. And if you mix up a little bit more, then you can always do a second or a third pour. Or if you mix up too much, you feel like you have way too much, you can always cover it up and use it later. You can just mail you that one. Okay. That's exactly how scary movies start. You go outside. No, I've watched way too many scary movies. We don't go outside, especially if you hear somebody. Heck no. Okay, so now that our paint's poured, and I'm gonna do probably maybe this whole thing, maybe not. So I don't want a whole lot of paint in there. Remember, we're using 5 colors too. Yeah, I guess. Maybe they were stealing my plants. So we're gonna take just a little bit of water, and this water is not, it looks like milk. So I'm gonna go get some new water. Hang tight, but I'm still not going outside. Okay, and I will add that you could also use Floetrol. If you have some of that and want to use it, you can do that. But I couldn't tell you where mine is. So you are going to add just a couple of drops of water. So remember, we want just a thinner consistency of our paint. So just a little bit at a time. Maybe like an 1/8 of a teaspoon, and mix it up. Now, if it is too runny, you can always add just a little bit more paint to it. So we're gonna mix it really good. And see what consistency we get. So it's a little bit runny. I want to add just a little bit more paint to it. And this is another reason why I start off with less paint. Your neighbors want to drink on your front porch. So I added just a bit too much water, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more paint to it. And I want it to run. Can you guys see that okay? That's the consistency that we're looking for. Now we're gonna add to the others. Remember, just a little bit at a time. You can always add more water or more paint if needed. So you just want it to run off that popsicle stick. Now, we do not have to add anything to our red. Because remember, it's already ready to pour. Add just a little bit more water to that one. If you have a little medicine dropper, that works great for adding. If you need just like 1 or 2 drops. Okay, so that one is ready. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to take our mica, and you can add it to one color or you could add it to all colors. Now you will notice adding it to the color, it's going to change the color of it. So add a little popsicle stick. I just filled the end of it, about like that. Can you guys see that okay? You just mixed the water with the paint. And now I'm scooping a little bit of the mica powder into that paint color. Now this is going to help create the cells, but it's also going to change the color of our paint as well. So I want to add just a little bit more. So I'm doing one more scoop of this. Maybe. So I'm doing just a little bit bigger scoop on that one. And you want to make sure that you get it mixed up really well. And that will thicken your paint just a bit, but it's still not too thick. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do 2 different pours with you. And I'm gonna show you guys a couple of different ways that I typically do mine. You can always go to YouTube and watch paint pour videos. There's so many different ways to do it, and find one that you like the best and stick with it. I like to mix it up a little bit. So the first one that I'm gonna do is just gonna be a flip cup pour. So you're layering all of your paints in this one cup, and then you're gonna flip it over your canvas or your mat. So make sure that everybody has their mats out. And I'm going to start with my white. It is the heaviest, so it's gonna stink to the bottom anyway. So I'm gonna start with that, and then we're just gonna layer our colors however you want to. There is no rhyme or reason to this. I will say I find it works best if you do a good amount of each color. Yeah, so this is my gold. So it's not running, but it has a consistent drip to it. Can you see that okay? It's kind of a hard angle to see. If it comes off in just like one big blob, just add a little bit more water to it. Sometimes when you're adding the mica to it, it can get a little bit thick on you. So just add just a tiny, tiny bit more water to it. Add just a little bit of water. And if you find it easier for you to pour your Rix Mix into a separate cup, that way you can do smaller amounts when you're pouring at a time, you can certainly do that. With the red, because it is pretty thin, I try not to use as much of it. So sometimes I'll just pour it in a separate cup just to, it's a little bit easier for me to pour from a cup instead of the whole bottle. So I'm just pouring directly over my white. And that's how much red I put in there. Not a whole lot. And then I'm gonna start adding my other colors. And I'm just pouring them just right over the top. And like I said, it doesn't matter which color you use first, last. I just kind of mix them up. And because my white is a little bit heavy, I don't want it all just to sink down. I kind of swirled it around. As much white as you want. I just filled the bottom of my cup with it. Just kind of like we did in the beginning with our acrylics. And that's what I was saying in the beginning, like, for me, because I've been doing this a while, I kind of know and I can eyeball the amount that I need. You'll want to play with it a little bit to see what works best for you, for your size that you're looking to make. And when I was first trying to figure out how to do these, I would just come and I would just pour like 3 or 4 of these at a time, and just to try and figure out what I liked. You can always save them. I have a folder, a little binder full of different skins that I can use. Here, I'll show you. I just keep them in my little binder so I can use them anytime. So I've got, you know, different colors, and if I find one that I really like, the coloring of it, I write everything that I did down so that I can try and recreate it. No two are ever going to be the same. So don't feel like you're not doing it right, because I'm telling you, I poured just the other day, I poured, I think 3 or 4, and there were 2 of them that I just didn't like at all. And I mean, I'm keeping them because I'm sure I can use them for something, but it just wasn't the look that I was going for. Okay, so, and then I'm going to top it off with just a little bit of white. Okay, so now that you've got your 1 cup ready to go, you want to make sure that you have lids on your containers. Screw the lids back on your containers so that you don't knock them over. I did do the white first, and I added, just throughout my layers, I added the red here and there, just a little bit at a time. Okay, so we're gonna move everything back from our mat. There is nothing on the edges of our mat. And all I'm gonna do, this is somewhat the square that I'm wanting, or rectangle. So I'm gonna start in one section, and I'm just gonna take and flip my cup. And I wanna let all of that paint run down. And then I'm just gonna take that cup and just kind of trail it down and move some of that paint down. And you can see in the cup, if you guys can see, there's some cells forming. That's the most nervous part. Yeah, it is kind of nerve-wracking. So now that we've got it, what we're gonna do is stretch it out just a little bit. If you move this too much, it's going to muddy your paint and you're gonna lose all your cells. So you don't want to go super crazy with it. And I will tell you, even though you have this rectangle here that you feel like, oh my gosh, that's the size that I need, it's okay if it's not that size. This one that I put on here, it actually tore, and so I pieced it back together. So these are actually 2 separate sections. So don't ever feel like you can't use it. So what we're gonna do is I just take this and I will pull my mat. I'm gonna hold it on one side and I'm gonna hold it on this side. And I'm going to take and just kind of run it right along the edge of my table to help stretch that and let that paint run and move. There is a lot of turquoise in this one. So I'm just moving that out to the sides to help bring it out just a little bit more. And like I said, I don't want to go crazy with it. And what I'm looking at more so than my lines that I made, I'm looking at what is happening with my paint. If I see that it's getting some cells forming, I want to just gently stretch them out. And that's the great thing about these mats, is they are a little bit stretchy. So it gives you a little bit more room to move your paint without messing the whole thing up. Okay, the other thing that you can do is you can take either, you can take, you've got straws in your box with you. I took and just cut one down just so that it's small. And if you want to just stretch your sides out, you can take and just gentle blows. And you can just move that paint around. When you do blow on it, you might notice that there are colors underneath that. So when you're moving it, like we'll do this section right here. See how that white shows up? So you can move and manipulate that paint. The other thing that you can do is, say you do want a little bit more here on this side. You can take a little bit of your heavy white, or you could even take one of your other colors, and we're gonna mix that with just a little bit of water. I'm gonna grab a cup here. Just to thin it out just a bit. And the reason, if I'm using it on the edge here, the reason that I want to add a little bit of water, because it is a thicker paint, and when it dries, it can start to crack. So just a little drop. Just to thin it out a bit. And I'm going to pour it along the edge here. So this is going to make your skin a little bit bigger. And then you'll also see that your paints will start to bleed over into that white that you just poured. And then you can take and use either a spatula, or you can use a paint scraper and drag them, or you can go back to your straw and gently blow it over. And that kind of mixes the two. So it doesn't look like you just poured straight white paint. Okay, if it's pretty thick, can you try and stretch it out just a little bit? Like, how thick is it? Mine's pretty thick. It's not crazy thin. Now, the other thing is, a lot of people, myself included, are super impatient and keep messing with it. That's one thing that I have learned is let it be. Let it do its thing. You can use heat on it. You can use either a little torch, or you can use a little lighter. And what that will do is that's going to pop any bubbles, and it's going to help create little cells. So you're going to get, if you use more heat on it, you're going to get little cells. If you don't use the heat, I'm not going to say you will see bigger cells, but you won't see those, you won't see all those little tiny ones. I'm going to do one more and show you guys a different, another pour that I like to do. I'm going to try and clean this up. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to use a couple of different colors. Go quick with your torch if you're using it on the mat. Just don't hold it in one place. And try not to go anywhere outside of where your paint is, and you'll be fine. You're 2 steps behind. Okay, so hang tight with me. I'm gonna mix up a couple more. And this time I'm probably going to add mica to all my colors, just so you guys can see them. Can I join and show you my skin? I don't care. Do I have to allow you to join? Or can you just pop on? I don't know how that works.
There it is.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never ever got this to work, so that's really freaking cool.
That's the thing, is like using the different, and people don't really think of it, using the mica in it, like it breaks up that paint and it helps you create those cells without adding silicone to it. Now it's probably going to dry a little bit different and you might lose some of your cells, and that's okay. It's still, it's so much fun to play and just create different stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's pink showing up over here.
Yep.
And purple. And I don't know where the purple came from.
It's from the Rick's mix is a little bit lighter, so when it just mixed with that navy that we made, that is giving you that purple color. Yep. I'm telling you, these are so fun.
I'm going to get the neons. Mindy sent me the neons, so I'm going to go get the neons, and I'm going to do the neon. Look, it's still forming the bubbles.
Yes. That's the thing, is just like being patient with it and let it work its magic. What I'll do is I will pour like at the very end of whatever I'm doing, and then I just have to walk away and just pray to the paint gods that it works. And I will pour, like, I'll do maybe 3 or 4 at a time.
Yeah.
Just because you never know. One might be a little bit thinner, one might be a little bit thicker, and it might not work the same. Again, you'll get different sizes because of your however much paint you use. So the magic to this is that there is no right or wrong way to do it. There is no bad outcome.
Yeah.
Okay, if Tina, if yours came out looking like a dirty pour, I think you might have been a little bit thin. The other thing I will tell you all you can do is you can take the white regular Rick's mix and you can add colors to that to create different colors. You can take and mix Rick's mix together. So you could take a red Rick's mix and what do we have, the lapis blue, and mix the most gorgeous purple, and then mix that in with your others. Your hubby came in and was like, yeah, Jason doesn't come in much. He's just like, just do your thing, whatever. Just don't bring glitter upstairs. Okay, so I'm doing another one. And I'm just mixing my colors up. And then I'm going to show you guys. Let's do it. Let's do navy blue again. And I'm going to mix
I'll do a different type of pour for you guys and show you guys what it's going to look like using the micas. If you have micas at your house, throw a mica in with one of these colors when you mix it up. You can put mica in every single one of these and it will create a whole new color for you, and it's just going to give you something completely different. So let's see what we have here. I'm going to use, let's use, is it Aquarius? Funky arms that are stretching. I'm telling you, it's probably going to be super cool. Don't knock it. The dispersion colors don't have binders in them. So if you use them, you're most likely not going to get a true color come out. We'll give you a dot. We'll give you a dot. And let's do this one. For funsies. Okay, so if you are 100% not feeling what you just poured, mix up some more and make another one. Even if you do it off to the side, they can be on the same mat. That one was just a little bit thick, so I'm just thinning it out. Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you a little bit different technique. At least 3. Typically, that's what I tend to do. If yours completely covers your mat, you should be able to have something on that that'll work for you. Yes, I just added mica to all my colors this time. So it's going to give me a little bit of a different color than what I had before. And I did grab a black and a light turquoise. So with this one, I'm going to pour my white directly on my mat. And then I'm going to take my little paint scraper and I'm going to spread it out. And I'm using this, look at that, get y'all butt out of there. I'm using this as a cushion to put my paints on. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just enough that I've got room. Now I'm taking a cup and I've cut the base of it off, and this is called an open cup pour, I think. You're gonna fill all your mats. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with this is I'm going to set this down on my paint, just like so. And I'm going to add my paints. Instead of doing the cup where we layered them, we're going to layer them, but we're going to layer them right directly on top of the white paint that we just poured. So same thing, you're just going to pour it in your cup or your funnel, however you want it. Layer the colors however you want. Like Rebecca was saying, she got a purple. She put her blue right up next to her red. And so that's where she got that purple from. That will happen. So be mindful when you're mixing or when you're pouring your colors. If you have like a green and a yellow, you're probably going to get some mixture, so you're going to get a different color come out of there. So just be mindful when you're pouring. And if you don't have a color wheel, you can buy them at Hobby Lobby if you're not real familiar with colors. There are complementary colors, and then there are some colors that just don't go together. So that's always nice to have a little color wheel. Okay, so I've done it. Let me just top this off because I got a little bit left in here. And as you mix and pour, you can see in your cup the cells starting to form. And I'm just using the rest of my paints here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and, oh, I'm so excited you guys are loving it. I'm going to barely lift this cup up. And if you do this, I want you to watch, because you are going to start to get that paint. I don't know if you guys can see this. That paint is starting to creep out from underneath my cup. And look at all these cells forming. And I haven't done anything to it. So again, I'm just barely tapping that cup and lifting it up and letting that paint come out from underneath it. Now, as I'm starting to get some come out, I'm going to take and start to move my cup down a little bit so that I can fill the rest of this space. You can do this super fast, you could do it really slow, whatever you want. But you can see all these cells starting to form out here. And as you drag it across there, you're going to see more cells start to pop up. Okay, let me move all my stuff, put my lids back on. And I'm going to move this right down here. And now we can do the same thing with this that we did with the other one. And we can spread it out just a little bit and just kind of stretch those cells out. Just kind of spread them out. If you have a torch, you can hit it with a torch and you will see a lot of cells pop up. I don't know where a torch is in my house. A little torch. Here, I've got this one that I can kind of show you guys. Just kind of gently go over it, and you'll start to see some little cells pop up. And if you want, you can take and drag. So see, I've just got this blue right here. I can take and just kind of gently drag some of that out. And move it around. This one is awesome. I'm loving this one a lot. Okay, so I will take a close-up picture of this and post it in the group as well. Hello. Can you? Yes, you absolutely can use metallic acrylic paint. It will give you even more depth. and you'll get some really cool cells. I really like using the metallic paints. Let me see if I missed any questions here. The Rix Mix, you do not need to add anything to it. It is ready to go. I added white with just a tiny bit of water on my edge just to thin it out just a little bit, because if you pour this white, like these edges right here that were on this one, they will start to crack just because it's a thicker, heavier paint. It is, so Tina, you were asking if it's the Rix Mix that brings out the cells. The Rix Mix does bring out cells, but it's also the combination of acrylic paint, which is a little bit heavier, with your mica mixed with the Rix Mix. So it's a combination of several different mediums that are giving you the cells. How long does it take to dry? That depends on the thickness of your skin. Typically mine are dry within typically 2 to 3 days, give or take. Some will be dry the next day. If I have a real thin one, it'll be dry the next day. Any other questions that I missed? This took a little bit longer than what I thought. The glitter, we glittered the cup, Cheryl, at the very beginning. So if you're just hopping on, you can glitter your cup tonight. You can glitter it tomorrow. Just glitter it at some point. It's the entire base of your cup is glittered solid white. Let that completely dry and then add 1 layer of resin to it before we come back for the next class. All right, guys. Any questions? I will try and go back through and answer them in the comments. But I'm going to hop off here. I hope you guys learned it. If you have any more questions, just keep dropping them and I'll check back throughout the evening and throughout the day tomorrow.